Welcome to Heavy Lifts. I'm Nat Borchers, and it is my pride and joy to introduce, first of all, my co-host for today, which is Britany Randall.
That's me.
So we brought in Britany because we have a wonderful guest today, Chris Blackburn, who we brought Chris in because he is kind of I want to say a jack of all trades with business, very successful business person. I'm partnering with you on a couple projects.
Smart move.
Yeah, we're finding out how things go. I've been about a year in on our relationship so far, and I've got a lot of takeaways, but I will start with this. Britany and I came up with an idea to just keep us focused on this podcast. So we put you can't see it if you're listening, but we have some ping pong paddles. We wrote $20 on the red side. So anytime we go into topics, let's just say two of them, AI and Bitcoin, that we probably shouldn't get down that rabbit hole. We're gonna slap Chris with one of these.
We're gonna paddle it.
Yeah, battle him, and he's gonna owe us. He's gonna have to Venmo us at the end of the
This is a
show.
weird fraternity, I'll give you that right now. And so, clearly you didn't say I couldn't talk about robots, so I appreciate that.
Yeah, I wanted to keep it just to two.
Okay, that's fine.
But I'm gonna add robots now, so there's three. So Britany, I want to bring you in and just say we don't have AJ this week, and there's a reason for that because I think Britany, we had her on the show 2 weeks ago, and it was fantastic. You bring a lot of energy. I think you're going to pinch hit for AJ here and there, and I think in this scenario, I think you're going to bring the best out of Chris as well. So thank you for being a part of this.
Thank you. Well, thanks for having me. I think I'm coming for AJ's job, so you should watch out.
Yeah, bar set low. So you're going to be okay.
Let's be nice.
Yeah. Well, what I really want to start with, because I am really interested in learning more about you, and I've heard some really fun stories. I've gotten to know your brother, Sean, who is an excellent fisherman, took my kids out for a free lesson about a month ago, and it was amazing. We learned a lot. We actually caught some fish. We wouldn't have caught them if I was there. That's me. And, I know you and Sean are close as business partners. Can we just start, there with like your relationship with Sean and going back to, your beginnings in Salem? Like, how close are you two and why?
Wow, there's a lot of data there. How far back do you want to go?
I want to start with the preteen years. I want to start ages like 5 to, let's say, 10.
We'll go way back. Real estate, my roots, my father was a real estate agent, had his own real estate company, and was partnering, similar to some of the stuff I do, with other residential developers. And so that was his whole thing. 1979, 1980 happened, and we saw a spike to 18% interest rates. And when you're playing that leverage game of having multiple homes that you're trying to sell in a market where nothing will sell, that was a big piece where I think my father lost his company, and then my parents went in to get a divorce. So talking about a cheery story, right?
Mm-hmm.
Right, humble beginnings, right? And so from there, my brother he took that traditional psychological role of that male provider. He buckled down. He worked all the time from age 14 down here in Salem, Oregon. He was working for Doughton's Hardware, which is a hardware store, I think, right next to where the India restaurant is, right downtown. And so from there, he was always working, always saving his money. I've one younger brother. I'm the middle brother. So my Peter in the Brady Bunch, right?
Okay,
Yeah.
middle child.
There you
Okay,
go,
that
middle
explains
child, right? So,
Wasn't it?
but he was the one that always worked hard, all the discipline through the whole process, and we got along well. I was more social, and he was buckle down, get the job done.
Where is Sean in the lineup? Is he the oldest?
He's the oldest.
Okay.
Yeah. So he took that role, right? And
Makes
so he was important, right? I mean, he would be the next father figure that I would have had. But you still have brothers 2 years apart from all the ages. There's a lot of things I wish I could have done differently growing up, right? Being less self-centered.
Well, Sean, I look at Sean and I would think if he wasn't so nice, but he's a strong silent type, like Clint Eastwood-esque, right?
Oh, I like it. I like it.
But he's like, it seems like you guys have like a really cool yin and yang, and that's interesting. So he was basically a provider at a young age for the family.
Well, my mother worked her 60 or 70 hours a week doing stained glass, very profitable business working with your hands.
Wow.
She had a shop downtown, right? Pringle Parkade initially, and then came over to the Reed Opera House, I think where Garrett is, his location there was her first move upstairs, and then they took the corner, I think where the crystal shop, or the rock, I'm gonna say rock shop, I wish I knew the name of that. But they have all those amazing, gorgeous rocks there. But that's, I mean, I was a downtown urchin down here. I was, we would run around and do everything. We used to buy these Texas donuts, make our own fish hooks, and use the fishing line that they used to hang the stained glass windows from. And we'd be in front of the police station, 3 little urchins, right, running around downtown when it was safe, and we'd be catching the big goldfish that were in the pond in front of the Civic Center, right? And the police we ball them up in a dough ball, and we made our own hooks, right? And so, I mean, fishing, my brother always loved fishing, no matter what it was. And the police are like, they're looking at this, and I mean, I know it's bad now with different situations, but they're looking at these urchin kids, and it's like Oliver Twist over there. I didn't have coal on my face, but we probably looked like my mother would call us ragamuffins. Yeah. Right?
So you were at the Reed Opera House doing this.
We were, it was Pringle Parkade, originally had a much more dynamic lower floor, a lot of people. We met a lot of people, artists, people starting the business. It was a pretty dynamic culture, right, way back when. And so, but they were trying to grow. They moved over more central Salem. Reed Opera House was the same kind of mix of all these businesses trying to figure out how they're going to fit in here. I think the name of her company was Made in Salem, and that was before Made in Oregon. If they just went a little bigger, right, they would have been Made in Oregon, but still it was all local co-ops. So my mother was that artist type, right? So not that, this is about my mother, but I love her dearly. She's passed away, but I love her dearly, so.
Yeah, so I find that you have kind of a good balance of like creativity and like understanding numbers. So do you think you got a lot of creativity from her? Is that kind of like the artist type of?
I got a work ethic from our Taylor side, right? They work and work and work and work, and then seeing my mother work a lot. And so the numbers probably came from my father, but maybe it was just a good mix of genes that kind of made me excited. And I don't think I was always this way. School was relatively easy, but you just kind of gamed it, learn your vocabulary words, and for short term, I can pass any test, but kind of goes in the vault and gets mixed up with a lot of other information.
So in your childhood, you hung out a lot probably with your brothers, right? And you were downtown a lot.
Well, I mean, when we were really young, but typical high school, we went to South Salem. Sprague High School. My mother was. The school districts were important to her getting a good education, so she wanted to stay in a good school district. But single family, mother working, latchkey kid. That was me growing up. But I had great friends. I had a great high school experience. I was really fortunate with that.
And did I hear you had a couple of extracurricular activities in high school? Is that right?
I'm actually excited.
You want to talk about this?
So I've heard rumors that you had a hustle from a young age, and then maybe your mom.
We got two ones. We got school sanctioned activities, which were fun, right? I tried wrestling, which was very hard, and it was good, but it was just brutal. I mean, the wrestling thing. But my good friend Matt Ramage came in, and he was on rally. Right, and so the Sprague had a really good rally team. I'm going way back. God, what is this, glory days? Anyway, I got on there, and I was in pretty good shape, but I'm not a big guy like you see in Florida where these guys are literally lifting women up. But that was a really good program. We worked really hard. We took a state championship, and we went to Florida and did nationals, and we won what they had as a Nordstrom's cheer-off. Then they sanctioned that you can't. There was $10,000 of clothes. I'm a poor kid in Salem, Oregon, and clothes are pretty important at at that time in high school. And all the other teams that won it before, the Nordstrom's cheer-off, they split $10,000 in clothing at Nordstrom's. The school, when we won it, said, we can't do that. You can't give away these cash prizes. I was dashed not being able to shop at Nordstrom's because that was pretty high class.
So you won the championship,
We did.
but you couldn't get.
But also,
the
can we
benefits.
translate? He just admitted to being a male cheerleader.
I wanted to say that. I was waiting for you to say that, but he said rally team, so I was
That's
like, he's
great.
kind of
I
skipping
like
over
it,
a
but
little
it
bit.
seemed a little bit like code, and I just wanted to get it out there.
Well,
If anybody can hoorah for Salem, it's you.
Oh, we had a lot of
That's
fun.
for sure.
The team we had, the girls on the team, we worked as hard as any. We worked as hard or harder than anyone in the competition, especially when you go to East Coast, was very different. Not the gentleman you see right now. What team is he on? The New Orleans something? He's a little
Is it a sport you follow to this day?
not cheerleading. No, absolutely. I've watched it, right? Or maybe there's a couple of movies on cheerleading that are very funny, but
There are.
and there are, right? But anyway, that was a long time ago,
Yes.
right? my best friend Matt Ramage, he continued on and was a cheerleader at OSU,
Yeah.
right? And then he married his, one of the people, wonderful friends. So, but married his partner who was in cheerleading. So
Oh,
yeah,
okay.
that was a long time. So
So, wow, okay, so you're part of this team. I'm like, I've seen you like build teams already. Like, was this the beginnings of like you understanding like, this is how teams work? I want to run my own company.
oh, way back then,
Future?
no.
Or do you
All
have
I
any
was
clue?
if I can get these really bad dance moves because I'm not a great dancer, my daughter would be dying right now. I was young that my brain did not kind of have that focus. Although going back further, that there was that entrepreneur spirit because when I was in fifth or sixth grade, I was reading a book called The Great Brain Series, and it's about this kid, great book, and he got anything he wanted because he's super smart, figuring out what other people wanted, right? And one of the ways he raised money was he had this fair in his backyard or whatever his woods. I did the same thing. We lived over at Tanglewood right before. It's probably 1978. And so we had acreage and we had a small neighborhood, maybe 15, 20 kids. I put up posters. We had a whole fair. I did a puppet show. We had a haunted walk. I probably cleared maybe $7 or $8 that weekend.
Okay, but that's what I'm
Crushed
talking
it.
about. Being a kid and hustling like that is amazing. I too did the same thing. I had an overgrown, weedy backyard. I grew up with a single mom who couldn't manage her job and the home. And I remember charging my friends $1 to come and see weeds that were taller than them, and they paid me. They absolutely paid me. So it's like having that
Yeah.
entrepreneurial hustle kind of spirit. But didn't your mom humble you on one of your transactions?
Well, a couple of them. I'll give you two. One was early, the same era, and we go, hey, we want to make money. I go, how much you get for a cord of wood? And it was probably $30 for a cord of wood, right?
Yeah.
And so, and we go, hey, we're going to go cut wood and sell it, right? And just sell it. And I didn't realize that you typically season wood, right? And the wood that was small enough was this wood, probably I'd be disciplined right now, but it's white oak, right? We had these small scrubby white oaks, and all we had were hand saws. And we went to go, and I think we got a whole truckload and we cut. I mean, it's just maybe 8-inch, 12-inch in diameter, but we hand cut
I think with
Oh my
those
God.
white oaks.
every one of those. I had blisters for days, but I think we earned a few dollars. with
Oh
that.
my gosh, I'll
Right.
say.
And
geez.
so, and then we'll go to something that I can't condone for any of these young people, right? My next side hustle is, we were, maybe in high school, we were known as beer brokers, and hopefully it's past the
This is
statute.
unsanctioned.
Unsanctioned
Okay.
activity. We
Yeah.
were beer brokers, but we were good people as well. But we would buy the Blitz and the Schlitz, which was a premier beer, and every once in a while, really go out on a limb and get the Henry Weinhardt's Private Reserve if we could afford it. I can't say where we got it from, but we would then go to the parties, which were very important. I hear today kids don't go to these parties, but every weekend, Thursday, you were figuring out where to go. And so we had a system where we'd buy the beer and we could and you'd sell it for, I think it's $1 or $2 a beer. Unfortunately, that's what I did. And I don't condone it, right? There's a lot of problems with alcohol. But we had our stash in a backpack, right, in the kitchen. And my mother was not dumb. She knew, right? We were fairly responsible, right? Good kids. But in my backpack, and she must have seen it, right? Because it was probably bulging with all our product that we're going to sell. And it was, 6 or 12 beers. It wasn't like we've got this master enterprise. While we were probably downstairs fixing our hair, putting our polo on, or Drakkar Noir, whatever we might be wearing, she switched out something in that, and I did not have beer. So I show up at the party, life of the party. I roll in, and
Thinking
I
you're
know
rolling hard
this is
because you got the
everyone
beer.
loves me,
Ready to make
not
your
for me.
transaction.
Ready to be Mr. Popular, right? And I open it up, and in there is a dozen cans of Blue Mountain cat food.
Incredible.
And my mother right now, she'd be glowing. She was so happy she could do that for me, right?
I was gonna say, because you do have a really good sense of humor. Yeah, and then that's fantastic.
Yeah. So, and then from there, went to school. My best friend's mother was really instrumental in saying, hey, you need to get to school. I fumbled it into OSU, went into fraternity for a while, and then studied some chemical engineering, which was pushed my limit. I could have done it, but it wasn't exciting. And then try to go, okay, what do I want to do as we all try and find ourselves, in our 20s or 19s, 20s. And went into archaeology, physical anthropology at University of Oregon. And then was planning to go to graduate school, right?
Wait, OSU first.
OSU first, chemical
Yeah,
engineering,
chemical
and
engineering,
then I went over to the liberal.
Archaeological anthropology.
Yeah.
Oh,
So,
interesting.
and it was, and I got, and then studied psychology, enough psychology classes where they just handed a second degree to me because I'd taken so many classes. So, and I enjoyed it, right? So,
So you got a degree in both, or do you have
yeah,
this degree in both?
yeah,
Wow,
but
okay.
there's no, oh wow, I haven't used it. Other than maybe in the back of my head, it rolls around, or I could go back and I'm sure a lot has changed in that whole process. So I had some great teachers too, right? I would do their accents, but I don't know if it's okay to do the accents, right? So between some of the math teachers who had been brought in, either Japanese, there weren't a lot of Chinese at the time. It was just fun trying to understand what they're saying with their English, right? They're super smart, but sometimes a little lost in translation if you're trying to learn calculus from a guy who speaks Japanese. So.
Yeah, we've had some struggles working with tenants. Who
Yeah, with our
don't
tenants, yeah.
necessarily speak the same way. Sometimes hiring an interpreter is very
Yeah.
important. But wow, so I am like, well, my mind's kind of blown because I haven't heard like this story, and now we're at the point where you've graduated college.
Graduated from college,
Yeah,
and
so
you
now
get the
you're
next
trying to
big
figure
story.
out- Yeah, trying to figure out like what's next for you, because like I'm over here, I'm already seeing you as like this like nutty professor just like mixing concoctions and potions, and then being out there like on the dig site, just like tapping the rocks and trying to like
For sure.
strip everything away.
It's like the Flubber movie, what's that?
Yeah, oh,
Just
yeah.
making things in the basement.
So when I was at OSU, I was going to go to Texas A&M and be an underwater archaeologist, right? Who doesn't want to be that? I think probably inspired by the Scooby-Doo episode when they're on a shipwreck. And we did some fun archaeological dives. I formed a dive club, right? And I got my master's. I was an instructor, right? So I was a master diver a long time ago, and looking at teaching, formed the first University of Oregon scuba class. And we go out to the ocean was rough. I mean, you go to Hawaii and that's a different experience. You go to the ocean, it's scary. But what people don't realize is lakes or rivers, as long as you've got a nice the visibility can be amazing, right? And of course, what did I want to do? I want to go down and find the things people lost. So you go to Salmon Falls, when people jump in, I watch as necklaces, you go in there. And so I was still doing the same thing. And I would say it's I can't say the word. It's a version of like the bad version of Indiana Jones where I'm out treasure hunting, right?
Scavenger hunting, in a
Right.
way,
So but it was just fun. It was you get bored if you dive, but you've seen enough coral or you've seen enough fish. You want to either hunt, right? So you get a Hawaiian sling and you're going to get food, or you're going to go out and try and find things, right? And, try and turn it into an adventure. So.
Okay. So this was like, was this a profession, or was this just like for fun?
No, when you're in college, right?
Yeah.
You want to meet people, you want to
Yeah.
work, and I guess maybe we organize that. So that was some of the genesis of the skills of let's organize things and do things.
Yeah,
Right, because there wasn't a club.
Right.
The dive instructor Bill was very militant, and he was afraid someone was going to his U of O contract because it was very lucrative. He'd teach 400 kids, and they go up to Hood River, and you get all the certification. He was a cattle rancher, made a lot of money, but he was worried these upstarts were going to try and steal his contract once they became instructors. And we weren't. We were off doing our own thing. A long time ago. Wow, I don't think about this much at all.
I'm glad we're
You're
here.
hearing
It's
like
fun.
common themes though, of like you building a team or you taking the initiative or you being the leader of something. So like, was there ever a time where you imagined yourself working for someone else? Or did you always think you'd be?
So
your own
let's
boss?
fast forward. I think I was prepping to go to apply for graduate school, right? Why not? Why not be an adult for 4 more years, right, and go into more debt? Who wouldn't do that, right?
Being
Of
an adult
course.
is a trap. So
Yeah,
you might
yeah.
as well.
But you're an adult. What I found out, they lied. You're an adult for a long time. That fun window, if you
It's very small.
can play it out without having too much debt. I'm not making light of our current situation. So and it is definitely a different time. So during that time, and you get to hear this story, and there's lots of people around me who've heard it. Is we're in between. I think it's summer. And my father, who had been in and out and doing his own thing after that 1979 destruction of his whole real estate empire, whether he came back and really attack life, I think he'd been beaten down, and so he He never came back to that same level, right? Not to talk bad about him, but that was the reality. He was going around Oregon, Washington, California, and he would be buying surplus equipment. And it was smart. Anything you could find. They had the military surplus. You remember the Jeep? Well, you don't, but in comic books, I'm around a bunch of young people. They used to say, buy military Jeeps for $49, right? It was military surplus.
Yeah.
The government buys a lot of stuff. The state of Oregon buys a lot of stuff. They got to get rid of it somewhere.
Yeah.
And there are all these places where you could literally look, they'd have a tag on it, and it'd be a valve that the government paid $49,000 for. If it was specialized, no one could use it. But if it was a common valve that was used in the oil field industry, you could find the secondary market. What you found is a secondary market. When I say that, it's like, well, what's a secondary market? That is cars. Can you resell a car? Yes. Can you resell yellow iron? There's a secondary market for cranes. If this was a real crane, we could sell medical equipment, vet equipment, restaurant equipment. There's this huge secondary market that I didn't know. It means you can walk in anywhere and there's a value everywhere. And so what happened is my father, summer, my father is, calls my baby brother, who is siding houses, right, for one of the big builders here. And so he's kind of this workaholic and he doesn't have time. My father says, hey, I went down to the state of Oregon surplus, and that was its own entity. It was a big warehouse. It's still there right off of an industrial drive, warehouse full of everything the state bought, and they liquidated it. They didn't care. They just wanted to get rid of it. They had a public sale, and then they had a sealed bid, right? And it took months. They put all this in. You'd mail it. There's no internet.
Yeah.
There is no internet. You'd mail it all in, right? And so, but this is when computers would come out, IBM XTs, big line printers. We also always had to have things printed out in duplicate. These line printers would print 800 lines a minute, and they were expensive, right?
Yeah.
Mainframe hardware, computers, communication with. But my dad was part of that, and he'd sell anything and try and find the market. And so he called my younger brother and said, hey, Chad, could you go and look at this equipment? I think I've got someone interested in it. And there's a couple things I want, but there's one I'm really interested in. It was a whole pallet, and it had what they call token ring cards. And token ring cards were the same thing as Ethernet cards, where you plug your computer in, but it was for a protocol, IBM protocol, way back when. But the state had upgraded, put all these cards in there. And this is communication equipment at the time, was super expensive. My baby brother said, yeah, I'll go take all your notes, and I'll count them all, and I'll get back to you. He had to work. He calls me up. He goes, hey, Chris, and so when my dad had talked to my younger brother, he said, hey, if we make any money, I'll split it with you. After his costs, split the profit. My baby brother calls me and says, hey, Chris, right? He goes, I can't, and my dad, our dad, I usually call him his dad, our dad says he needs help. Will you help me? And he goes, anything I get, I'll split with you, is what he tells me. I didn't know we had a split. And I go, well, that sounds good. And it was, a couple hours work. So my girlfriend at the time, who's now my wife, I said, hey, honey, could you help me with this? I'll go in there and take all the notes. You take the notes, I'll go in there and get dusty and count the cards.
Yeah.
You just have to sit there.
Yeah.
And I go, I'll give you half of what I make, right? So we're splitting this down.
Yeah.
So ultimately, we get all the notes, we check on it twice, we check on some other equipment, and then he goes, hey, I got great news. I had people interested in those token ring cards. We didn't know what that meant. We go, well, that sounds great. I might get paid. I'd help him anyway. He didn't have to pay us.
Sure.
And so 3 months go by, and he goes, I've got great news. We won the big lot. And I go, wow, well, what does that mean? And so he said, here's what happened. I got 2 bids. Got one bid for $68,000 for this one pallet, and another bid for 72, and I know both the companies. I can practically remember the name. We did a lot of business with them.
Okay.
And so, the big question is, well, what did you pay for it?
Yes.
Right? And he goes, I paid $5,100 some dollars.
Wow.
Now here I am. I've got Pell Grant loans. I got loans, and they weren't terrible. As college wasn't as expensive, but I'd been borrowing my whole way, and
Wow.
and I worked my summer jobs. I worked at the cannery, and I didn't create my empire. And I'm looking. I go, okay, if it's half of this, are we splitting? If he's going to give Chad $35,000 and I get half of that, right? And we start counting all this money in my head. What I don't realize, because I'm still that self-centered kid that should be doing more for the people around me, is that this was probably my dad's biggest hit he's had in years. It's not like he's rolling in money, right? So in any event,
He's had to pivot from
Yeah.
real estate to this.
yeah, there's, and he's had other hits, but nothing this good. I didn't realize this probably, this would, make it a great year for him. Anyway, it ended up, he was very fair. I think he gave us $18,000. I got $9,000, right, for 3 hours of work.
And Misty got
Surplus. So I pay taxes on it, right?
Okay.
And if the IRS comes to get me 25 years later, I think I gave her $4,000 in cash in a duffel bag. $1 bills,
And
right?
is that when you got down on one knee and said,
That took a lot longer, yeah.
And
We're gonna have to edit that part,
We're
right?
gonna-
There's a lot more, but no. So, in any event, what I saw is one, that thrill of the chase, and that what you knew and who you knew he had. And we looked around and go, this is amazing. And the state of Oregon had these sales, and when we first got into it, there were 3 cronies who had been doing this for 20 years. That had been partners, not partners. They knew the surplus industry, and there was a huge opportunity. You'd run underneath they roll up the door. You get there at 3 or 4 in the morning to get first. Run under the door for the general sale and grab these tags. Everything was priced at $25, no matter what it was. So all of our stuff, pallets of it, and then you just go and sell it. And it wasn't as lucrative, right? We had an office under the old Vips location, under the art store right in the corner, like not far from here, because it was the cheapest place. And my goal was, say, if I could just get $10,000 in the bank. And we put our own drywall up, and we're writing on the wall. That's where all our notes were. And from there, we continued to do computer equipment. We didn't get giant. There are companies that were running parallel with us who we bought and sold from. They got really big in the industry, and they changed mostly to service. And then at one point, when we needed money, there was one person I knew I could contact, my brother Sean, right? So if we needed 10 grand and he wanted to make, he wouldn't hard money loan us, but we'd say, we'll give you $1,000 on top of this 10 grand in a month, because we had it sold. We had to refurb them or clean them up and ship them out and wait to get paid. So he came in as our source when we didn't have the money to do these. And eventually we said, hey, go try and sell these. There were some starter motors that they're required to start up big motors. They're on this big panel, and we got them from Hanford Nuclear Power Plant, right? That's why I look like this.
You are glowing today.
He sold them, right? And so from there, he kind of got hooked. I go, let's come in. He'd been working for a distribution company for herbicides and pesticides, right? And I didn't like that, right? Monsanto, that kind of thing. And I said, you got to get out of there. They'd already put a glass ceiling on him. He's the hardest worker there. They go, oh, you can't move up because you don't have a college degree. I go, do you know what you're giving up? And so here we came together, and neither of us spend money. We just reinvest it, right back in the company. What do we do with it? We buy product or real estate, right? And now we're here.
So that's the inception of you guys working together?
That's the inception. My younger brother was in the same mix, but he dealt with the PCs. And so he was doing the same thing. He owned a PC store because he fixated that. So he'd get the PCs, we'd be buying the communication equipment. So, and he's into real estate as well, not as big as I did, but he's a hard worker. His wife is an attorney here in Salem.
So, wow, this is a really good point to, I think, pivot to real estate, because I hadn't heard that story before. And I think that's a really, really interesting story. In other words, you basically found an opportunity within a market to just resell products, right?
So with that, when I looked at what I could have done with going into being an academic, right? What I did is, when we did do a dive with the team just for recreational in the Bahamas, I looked at this and I was trying to fund what would have been my archaeological digs. And so I was thinking, I can pay for all this, the disposable money that divers have. They don't really want to be on an archaeological dig for 4 or 5 or 6 days. They want to go down, find something, and then tell their buddies at the bar that they're on an archaeological dig. With that, they'd fund it. Because, underwater, it's a lot of times there's not a lot left. Depending on how deep you got to go pretty deep. And recreationally, you wouldn't want common divers to go too deep, right? It just should be fun. But that would fund it all. They want to spend their money on something. So, but when I saw that I liked the business side, I had so much fun with that surplus event that my dad did. I said, I made more in this one hit than I made in the last 3 years of summer working, right? And so I said, there was a tremendous amount of joy, and I think probably a feeling of control when I could find my own destiny by knowing, and it was your network, who buys this equipment. By me being a little sharper and making a few more phone calls, I could outwork a lot of the projects. And at one point, we would just wholesale everything out, and we'd fax a list of what we had, all this communication equipment. And what we found is if we were trying to pre-sell it and they didn't need it, they give us 10 cents on the dollar. If they were selling it for $900, they give us $90. But if they had an order for it, they give us $4.50. And so what we found is, wait for them to need an order, we would start stocking it. And by stocking it, having a warehouse, that kind of changed that whole motive in waiting, building this network and being a stocking warehouse, right?
Wow. Hearing that you're saying, like, now I understand that if I warehouse all this stuff and I wait until they need it, I'm gonna make a bigger profit. Does that translate to why you have so much warehousing square footage today?
Oh, well, I mean, I think the model was when we were early, I saw that because we negotiated the first building, it was an old Dr. Pepper plant on the corner of Belmont, Commercial, and Liberty. And my baby brother ended up buying that, and we negotiated our first lease, right? Like, I want a lease option to buy. Because what you found is we rented a couple places, including right downtown, is you end up paying rent and you go 3 or 5 or 6 years can go by in a very short amount of time. And you just paid so much mortgage. So the goal was to buy a bigger building than you need and then rent part of it. You're your own best tenant, right? And the time we didn't necessarily get into the financing side. I didn't have a Troy Willis on my team. And so what we found is across the way, there was this Belmont Larmer Transfer and Coal. And there were these attorneys who bought it out of a bankruptcy. They bought the shell of the company, right, for pennies, but that shell of the company owned this real estate, which is right across 11 acres right downtown where our current warehouse is. And so we had Linda was the manager, and we said, hey, if they ever want to sell, right, let us know, because we want to buy this section. We're expanding. We were renting the warehouse. I think they were charging us 17 cents a foot when we moved in.
And what year is this?
Wow.
Roughly?
This would be 20 years ago,
Okay.
right? And
Early
we looked.
2000s.
Yeah, 2000s, right?
Okay.
And so we moved in and we just kept asking nicely, right? And they finally said, yeah, we'll sell you this section. And so we bought it, and it was a much bigger warehouse than we needed. And we rented the state of Oregon was renting some of the space. And that's kind of when it started, because we were generating money that we weren't spending, right? Sean had bought a house. I had bought a house. I think at the time I was probably still driving around in a state surplus handicap van well, that was my driver, daily driver, because that's what we'd haul stuff in. They took it's called the wide one. It was a Dodge van. They cut it in half.
Yep.
They expanded 1.5 feet. They put a handicap ramp and door on one thing, and it had benches in it. And so I drove around that. My cousin came down, and
Cool
we're driving
factor
around.
is
He's
so
laughing.
Yeah, it is. I was gonna say.
He's unfortunately, he wasn't being mean, but we've got a big handicap signal on our van, and this woman's in a wheelchair, nice woman, and my cousin, who's a little rough, he goes, hey, look at us in the handy van, right, waving to her. And that's stuck in my head. He'll still remember if I brought it up. Anyway, we drove that for a while. That was my daily driver. We bought the property. That was a state surplus van, but we bought the property, and that's kind of where we moved forward into real estate, because what else were we going to do with our money?
Yeah.
You know, I guess I could have, invested in a dumb company like Google or Visa or PayPal or eBay,
Yeah.
but that would have been silly, right?
Disney,
Instead, I bought
Microsoft.
Disney, Microsoft, yeah, especially when we were using. That would have been silly. I don't know why anyone would not want to do that.
You went the hard way.
Yeah.
So was that like, did you get bit by the real estate bug then? Because I know, and I want to know when you got your first development, because that's just like buying existing, right? Like how? I know.
Yeah, so my uncle was a home builder. I think it was T&T Homes, and so he was a home builder, but he also worked for me when they had the downturn of the economy. I don't know if you were really young back then, but 2008, 2009 was a pretty rough time.
Young?
I know, I'm totally teasing you.
Give me a break.
I'm aging myself up.
Yeah.
TNT Homes?
I don't know. I could have that wrong.
I need to
So,
ask.
If
If he is, then he and I go way back.
oh wow. So
This town's too small. I've always said that.
Town
Say it
is-
again. Yeah.
It's
Yeah.
the perfect size. It's the perfect town.
so.
Don't be negative.
Anyway, we built out the subdivision that I suckered a guy into buying, hooked up a wrong sewer line, right? So we got that. He was,
Candlewood.
right,
Yeah.
that was Candlewood. That was
Yeah.
first one. It's right across from
Oh,
his place.
nice.
And it was zoned as residential at the time. That's why you got that cul-de-sac.
Yes.
And that was the first one. And we built that out, and Troy was the developer. I didn't have the skill set, and so I found him. We built it out. I go, this can't be that hard. And people are saying this flex industrial is really important, and that's what we did. Not enough parking in the back. It would have been a lot more successful. And with that, I got a tenant, right? This tenant who had been also a prolific builder, got a little beat up in the downturn, and then he was running this whole crew taking care of all the zombie homes. hustler, right? He went up there and made the office super nice. I go, why is this guy making his office so nice?
Yeah.
He had guns and knives, not in a violent way, but he's like wearing Western boots. I kind of like this guy. Right? And like, who is this guy? And we built a relationship, and there's a couple not fighting, but had to fix this or do that. But he's a great tenant. And finally, somehow we came in, and I'm looking at more property. There's a downturn. There's lots of banks owning property. We had that Davis Road subdivision right across from Crossler Middle School, right? And I'm looking at this, and I've got my professional realtor, I think at the time was Rita, right? And she was just a residential broker, but we brokered that, and I think we brought in James Haig, right?
Yep.
And he was really great. He helped me a lot coming in and learning a lot with that. He's great. And at that point, I'm looking at this, I go, what would it cost to build these lots? And are they finished out? No one knew, right? And so I'm like, and everyone's giving me these huge warnings. Well, they may not have done this, may not. It was all platted, they're ready to go. What
Is that
was
the
it?
one with Boundary Street that runs through?
I don't know if it's Boundary, but it's all this little cluster. It's the densest subdivision in,
Oh, the Karen Way.
yeah.
Okay.
So, and we bought it,
Oh,
yeah.
Yeah.
They were
Yeah.
townhouse flats.
Yes.
Townhouse,
Oh,
right?
exactly.
And so
Yeah.
I'm looking and I go, these would cost me $50,000 to do the same development. I'm buying them at $11,000 each,
That was a great buy.
right?
Wow.
And
Yeah.
then I worked with Anders, like I need someone to build it, and I literally couldn't get a design I thought was attractive, right? With most people, they look at it, the whole side is what you see, and they go, well, that's where the bathroom goes, so there's just gonna be one little window. And if you drive up, you're gonna see this big flat front with 3 windows, they're too high, 2 windows, and that's all you see. I go, don't you realize this is what you're looking at? It's so ugly. Can you make it look like a house? And we fought a little bit. Finally, we came in, and this was a lesson to be learned, but the guy just had better connections. We had a guy come in, Bill Winkenbach, and he got it under contract and sold it to D.R. Horton, right? After we talked to D.R. Horton, he was just better at negotiating. He did a great move, right? I think he made $800,000 on a
Just
pushing paper,
Yeah.
Wow.
right? Right, great for him. I did well. I reinvested in another property down in Eugene, and found that I like building my own projects better than investing in other people. It's fine, but man, it was, I do better investing in my own projects than other people's projects.
So I have to put a pin here because you went over a lot of things. First of all, for our listeners, Candlewood Court is a industrial flex project that I purchased from you
Yes, sir.
and Troy a few years ago. It did have a cross-connection issue that we have since figured out with the city. Not your fault, but it was a little bit of a headache that I had to deal with, a lesson learned. But Chris Anderson, who is now your right-hand guy, he's your guy
Yeah,
at Clutch, right?
he is running Clutch.
So he was your tenant at the time, and you said,
So Anderson Homes was your.
Yes.
Okay.
so I actually am interested really quick on this relationship because I see you guys who you are now, but in the early going, he was your tenant, you were the owner, and you said you guys clashed over a few things. What was-
Just small things like, hey, how's this AC working? The TI tenant improvements. You
Yeah.
put a lot of work in floor, so
Good.
I
So it
came
wasn't
out
like
ahead.
big, wasn't like big fights?
No, that wasn't. I mean,
Because I
we
can
Not
imagine
yet.
him like
Yeah.
calling me like,
Yeah, not yet.
hey, Chris, like the AC's out. You're like,
Yeah.
well, fix it yourself. And then,
Yeah.
you know.
And so ultimately, I knew I wanted. I didn't. It wasn't that I didn't trust. I guess I'm trying to get vertically integrated. I knew if I went out to another construction person, I don't know what it costs. I don't know what any of that costs. And whatever they say, I just have to believe them because if I do it, I might break it up differently. And so I wanted to have the person in-house, right? It was rough for Anderson because the cheaper we could do everything, even if they had to beg, borrow, and steal on my projects, I got on the equity side. So when we brought him in within my group of going on, I'd have him build and they're going, oh, he was under budget. And I'm like, yes.
Yeah.
But my team would be say, he didn't spec it out right. I go, well, it costs what it costs. If we got to put more money in it, I'm getting it over here. I want the construction side to be as lean as possible. And it put a lot of stress on him and us and my team. And they didn't see the fact that even if we were under, we had to feed it a little bit. It kept everybody lean, right? Now we're running a little differently. It gives us a little more latitude. We're able to invest within Clutch and to do a lot of basically figuring out how far we're going to go, due diligence on properties, and spec on a few, right? And run them long enough where my other team is not saying that that the Clutch is a redheaded stepchild. No offense.
Oh my God.
You're waiting that one. I haven't made any short jokes yet. Chris. Come on, man.
notice you're in a
Well, I
very
am
short
standing
chair.
right now. I am standing right now, so.
The crane is taller than you.
Well, I have a
Yeah.
question, because I started working for you 4 years ago, 4 years ago. And I've never seen a team in any of the other companies that I work for. I've never seen a team like yours. So do you credit yourself with
No, it's the
putting
people
together
around
that
me,
team?
right? I
Who
can barely
built the
tie my
team?
shoes and I don't even have laces.
That's probably the issue.
You wearing cowboy boots like Anderson does? Is that right?
Yeah, mine are little, what are these called? These are Chelsea cowboy boots. They're not quite full all the way up. He's got like an American flag and eagles and
Yeah.
He
tattoos.
goes hard
Yeah.
for the
Yeah, that's,
American
yeah, I'm
team.
like,
Yes.
I'm half committed, but I love the boots, so.
But I think your question.
Yeah, how do you build
is
such an
interesting.
efficient team?
Yeah.
And I also admire how loyal you are to the team. So do you see a benefit in being that way? Because not every developer is that way.
So, I mean, I guess the psychology of it is responsible capitalism, right? Which we don't see, right? Is you don't need all the marbles. You want to share it. You want to elevate everyone. And if they're working that hard, right? But you have to make a lot of money to treat people really well, right? But I don't need all the money. I don't need to go buy a helicopter, right? What do I do with it? I put it in the next project.
Right.
Ultimately, I get teased because sometimes I don't have enough capital. It's not that. I'm trying to make sure I have enough capital to solve all the problems that I created. Right? And so yeah, they tease me because I mean they force me to buy a new vehicle. They go, your car is old, your truck is old, it smells like dog, right? And it's a 12-year-old truck. And I'm
We'll
like,
be downtown
right?
and I'll be with another client and I'll see Mr. Blackburn and I'm like, oh yeah, this is Mr. Blackburn. Everybody's like, that
Mhm.
of Clutch Industries.
But I
That's
think-
Mr. Blackburn.
I think,
I'm like, yeah, what is it? The flip flops and the unkept hair that's
Be-
throwing you off or what?
this haircut I paid
Martin
for.
is so short, is that right?
Right? Yeah,
That's an upgrade because you
Yeah.
usually cut your own hair.
I do.
I think that's what I appreciate about you, because like my dad, I grew up in a household where my dad was like, he was very sensitive about any spending at all. And he went to the Peace Corps. He had a job that worked with foreign exchange students where it was like required to have a really like budget, like this is what it is. So like he was always like watching out. And so I always appreciated that. And he did well, but he never would, as he jumped up the ladder, right, he wouldn't spend more. He would continue to be himself, which I
That's
think is a real,
admirable.
I think that's really a credit to
Yeah.
you that you're able to do that. Because a lot of people, when they, you make a lot of money and then you just, you can go out and you have choices, right? And you can spend it on yourself or you can spend it on your project, your businesses, or, other things. But I think it's cool that you've reinvested it. And let's move forward to reinvestment. Salem Forge. How did
Yeah, you
That's
get
that project?
literally
You get 6
the
minutes.
project.
Yeah,
Forge.
and that's where actually
Oh.
I got brought in because I was a part of an investor meeting. It's been over a year now, and I decided to invest in one of your projects because of the energy you brought and the team you brought and the success you'd had. And I've learned a lot about your business as Britany has, being on the inside. But like, what led you to make that decision to invest downtown?
Well, I mean, and the truth of it is I was pretty much duped by AJ Nash.
I knew you were going to
Oh,
say that.
me too.
Didn't
That's
we know
right.
that?
But luckily, the thing is, I look and I was really able to get him back by having him do this restaurant.
That's
Oh,
so true.
yeah.
Yeah,
That is
He's-
true.
he's
Yeah.
got-
Try it now.
Yeah,
No, I
that's right.
mean, when we look around, I'm a value investor. I look and say, okay, what would it cost per foot for this building, right? And could we do something? And AJ's incredibly creative, right? And talk about someone who can, and yes, he's good at selling. I'll give him that. Almost half the time, my defenses are up all the
But I
time.
didn't
Like,
need another bag.
but also
So true.
he stands behind it. When he came in, he knew he was committing to like eating an elephant as big as what I was having to eat, right? I mean, and with everything that happened in COVID, I mean, there's a lot of things that happen. There's a lot of time he's put in, and when he comes in, he gives it 100%. It's the team. What was it? I felt I had a team that could support me in a lift this big. And when you came on and I saw and how he talked about you with 45th Parallel, right? And then having the ability to come to you and say, okay, how do we do this? You go, calm down, Mr. Blackburn. I think there's a path, right?
There's always a path.
Right? And like and then I love your comment. You know how much money I've saved you?
All the time.
Right?
I love to remind you.
Yeah, well,
I
it's
think we're up to like 3 G-Wagons.
yeah. Right. They may be a golf G-Wagon, but still a
Did you
G-Wagon.
see that? I sent the golf cart. Yeah, that was my bad.
So, but why would you do this? Well, I mean, one, the value of the real estate property alone, we were looking at the JCPenney's next door, and when it drops to a point where you feel like you can take that risk, put the money in and get that return. I mean, it's all calculated. I brought investors in.
Yep.
The other thing is you eat last, right? You just gotta expect that if there's gonna be something heavy, you're probably gonna have to absorb some of that, right? And treat your people well and make sure that, that you have a plan. And AJ was part of my plan. You came in, that buffer that you created, knowing that when we ran into the challenges that you might have with a building as complicated with with the city of Salem, right? That I would have the team to be able to push through it, because sometimes I get a little frustrated and I just put my head down and it doesn't always help, right?
Yeah.
So having those people being able to give me the tools to succeed is really the only reason we're here.
Well, the thing I like about you is that you can see things in 3 dimension in your imagination. I think that's really unique. A lot of people can't. And I think you see the end before anybody else. You see your goals before anybody else. But you built this team that can always help you get there. And along the way, we'll eventually see your goals, and we'll see it in 3D the way that you did. But a couple years ago, I taught you this term, adaptive reuse. And you do it better than anybody. And don't people call you Dr. Dirt? Isn't that a thing? He sees something that other people are like, oh, that's dilapidated, needs to be torn down. And he's just like, he's in the future. He can see it. And then I'm going to have to paddle myself. And then he'll use AI and tell AI with imagery. And he spits out these images. And he's like, finally, a tool that can show your team what you're imagining.
Yeah, no, it would be a lot more expensive in the past to have this giant rendering, right? And we've done it.
Yeah.
And I think, and so I actually was reaching out, I've done this before with some of the larger projects, but reach out to University of Oregon, their architect school, trying to connect someone who's digitally innovative, but isn't an architect. And they go, well, let me have fun. We're looking at other projects. We'll have another episode. I'd love to talk about a couple other episodes about how we can fundamentally change downtown. This will come to the future, but that is literally another hour. But I've got 3 giant plans that I'd love to share. This is the cliffhanger or the hook, right? Of what we can fundamentally do. I'm committed to make Salem the pinnacle of the West Coast for small towns. We are a small town. This downtown is a small town.
Yeah.
If our downtown is healthy, I was just talking to Patrick Carney, right? If downtown is healthy, the rest of the town, it sets a precedence. And whatever tools we have here, the rest of the town, we want that to ripple out to Lancaster, to ripple out to South Salem, to give these people the same tool sets, right? I think we deserve and we can achieve greatness here in Salem, right? It is possible. It's going to take a community. It's not just going to take relying on the government, right? It's not going to take just relying on businesses or community organizations like churches. It's going to take the
Staff.
people in the community,
Staff.
right?
I'm
Yeah.
I'm so glad you brought that up.
Yeah. Right?
Yeah, thank you for being on the front page of the newspaper on Sunday.
Yeah, it looked like I did all the work.
That is what I was going to say.
I was gonna say, though,
I don't think you did everything.
You were working really, really hard, and I actually I got an appreciation for your work ethic, because I've seen you, making
Talk a lot.
decision and talk a lot, which is work. It is work, right? But I haven't seen it in action, because I know, like, just given what you talked about in your background, like how hard a worker you saw your brother being and how hard a worker you are. Just seeing you kind of doing doggies back and forth in the alley,
Yes.
and we're all cleaning. I'm like, Chris is committed here. I love this. This is fun to
You
watch.
were
Yeah.
pushing garbage cans. You were-
Yeah, I didn't even hurt my back emptying those garbage cans, so I feel good. And
That
talk
was-
about being short. They had the dumpsters. I'm like jumping up, trying to get these 40-pound, 50-pound loads of garbage in there. So, but
Well, I was just back in the alley and it still looks beautiful.
It does.
So all of our efforts are still there.
there's a little corner. We should have a little concert. That would
I
be
think we
fun.
should.
Someone, just even if it's semi-electric, someone with a little amp and just playing and just serve
Just a
some
thank you for
non-alcoholic
putting out
drinks,
some
right? That would be
yeah.
fun.
That would be fantastic, and I think this is a good place to stop. I think I really appreciate what you brought to this conversation and how you've influenced so many people in Salem with your businesses and with what we're trying to do, I think, collectively. Thank you for being a part of Stack, and thank you for being a part of the podcast. Britany, thank you for co-hosting. You killed it.
Thank you.
course.
Thanks for having me. This is fun.
This has been fun.
Yeah.
Chris,
Well, thank
so
you.
much.
Oh
It's
my
been
goodness,
fun.
of all the people, you
Yeah.
guys came down here on a Friday, right? Early in the morning.
Oh,
I mean, you've committed to spend a lot more time here in Salem. And we are very fortunate to have you and you as well. I mean, you're way out south and you're downtown fighting as hard as anybody, right? You're south, you're not far from the school and Bush Park. It's pretty nice where you're at,
It's
right?
pretty nice. Yeah.
And that's what I think we all deserve.
I think that's what the reason I get up in the mornings is just a team, being inspired by a team who is committed, just like I am, to this downtown core and just committed to making Salem a better, safer place, and that's what we're all kind of trying to do, and that's what Stack is all about. So stay tuned for more on Stack. And
We have
stay
an
tuned.
Instagram now.
Yeah, we do have an Instagram. Thanks,
Nice.
Britany, for setting that up.
Yes.
And there's gonna be more from Chris Blackburn, because I think we could do a couple other shows on some big projects he's working on. And
Those are
I
some
would love
cliffhangers.
to have people in Salem talking about this stuff. It's
Yeah.
fun. So
I'm excited.
thank you so much. I appreciate it. It's been fun. All right. I'll see you next time.
Thank you.